Welcome back to Words of Paradise. I'm your host, Leon Idle, and pop quiz for you viewers. What is the definition of creativity? The use of the imagination or original ideas, especially in the production of artistic work. Well, if one company in the film industry was known for this, it was our Lord and Savior Disney. Whether it was black and white short cartoons starring a whistling mouse on a steamboat, full-length color animated pictures depicting acts of heroism and fairy tale fantasy, to revolutionary CGI works about the reality that we all believed as children, our toys are actually alive. Disney were the undisputed kings of creativity. Then, the Dark Ages came. 2014, Maleficent. The first in what would be a deluge of live-action remakes capitalizing on our nostalgia and taking us for all we're worth. Complete with writing that proves the monkey and typewriters hypothesis, CGI so soulless you'd think their entire VFX team was an army of Percy Weasleys, and the beginning of a trend of subverting expectations and deconstructing characters in a woke way to be more sensible to modern audiences. While Maleficent wasn't the first Disney live-action remake, The Jungle Book and 101 Dalmatians in the 90s actually get that honor, it was the first to kick off this modern era of greed and mediocrity. It was followed by an abysmal Beauty and the Beast remake, confirming my suspicions that Emma Watson can't act or sing, an Aladdin remake that exemplifies how you lose all charm when you take away the movements and facial expressions that can only be done with animation, Cruella, which only serves to show us that Emma Stone's beautiful smile can't distract us from the harsh reality that modern villains have lost their edge, and even Pinocchio, going full speed ahead to ensure audiences Disney's woke agenda is here to stay by putting a minority male actor in a dress, calling fairy godmother for no other reason than to pat themselves on the back and score points with Twitter, demonstrating once and for all that the likes and retweets are a greater currency than the overinflated American dollar. And now there's another live-action Disney remake coming out, The Little Mermaid, a remake of the film that kicked off the Disney Renaissance in the late 80s through the 90s, and the writing is on the hull of a sunken sailboat that, yeah, the trend is pretty much going to continue. Or is it? The Little Mermaid had no agenda when casting Ariel, director says. We saw every ethnicity. So I do want to go through this article from Variety and see what they have to say, because I'll be honest, I don't trust Disney and I don't trust this statement. But before you click away or give me hate, hear me out, because no, this is not going to be an I'm upset she's black video. So cool it and let's see where this goes. Disney's live-action The Little Mermaid had no agenda when it came to casting Ariel, director Rob Marshall told Entertainment Weekly. The Chicago and Into the Woods director said his team auditioned every ethnicity for the role before landing on singer Halle Bailey. So, here's the thing. I want to believe that. I really do. But with Disney's track record and some of the things they've done in the past, that's difficult to believe. I don't want to just say, oh, Halle Bailey's awful, this is going to be bad because Ariel is supposed to be white. No, that's not the case. If you're an actor or an actress and you audition for a part and you want to get your name out there, go for it. That's what you should be doing. But I also have trouble believing, with all the agenda pushing that Disney's been doing, that they're telling the truth here. While Bailey's casting has been widely championed and celebrated, see the viral supercuts of black girls watching the film's teaser trailer, a small portion of racist fans have expressed outrage against Disney for casting a black actor as Ariel. Full stop. This is not really true. I mean, look, there's 7 billion people in the world. There's a lot of Disney fans. There's a few racists. I'm sure there's going to be some crossover. But no, the vast majority of people are not upset that she's black because they're racist. They're upset because it looks like Disney is shoving an agenda down people's throats and telling people that they're wrong or bad for not wanting it. Most people don't want these live-action remakes to begin with because they are soulless corporate cash grabs purely existing to make money off of nostalgia. When people are upset about Halle Bailey being cast as Ariel, they're not upset because she's black. They're upset because they can see through the curtain of Disney's agenda. It has nothing to do with her as a person. It has to do with the corporate shills at Disney. And what's really sad is that I think Disney knows this. We all know what Disney did to John Boyega and Chadwick Boseman. They took John Boyega on the poster for The Force Awakens, and in China they shrunk him down and moved him over to the side to make him look like a much less important character, like he's not going to be in the film all that much. They took Chadwick Boseman on the poster for Black Panther, and instead of his face, they put the mask on him because China is notoriously racist. So they didn't want their sales impacted because they didn't think Chinese people would go see a movie starring black people if they thought those black people were going to be major roles in the film. So Disney only preaches and cares about diversity and empowerment when it's not hitting their pocketbook. But when it is, they don't care about black actors. They're happy to shove them into the corners of posters and put masks on them so they can make a buck. But in America, where they know that they have complete control and can just tell people, oh, you're being racist or you're being sexist if there's outcry, they can get away with whatever. And that's not fair to both the paying customers or the actors portraying these characters. Technically, it's also not fair that they're lying to their Chinese audience, but China's communist, so I don't care about being fair to them. We were just looking for the best actor for the role. Period. The end, Marshall said. We saw everybody in every ethnicity. The goal was to find someone who can be incredibly strong, passionate, beautiful, smart, clever, and with a great deal of fire and joy. See, I don't believe that. Again, this is nothing against Halle Bailey, but that's just corporate speak. That's what you have to say. And when you're saying things that you have to say, that everyone knows you have to say, why should we believe it? There's no passion, beauty, nothing clever about those statements because they're forced. Obviously, he can't come out and say, yeah, we want to cast a black girl because diversity is important. Like, that's going to go over bad as well because it's going to make it sound like Halle Bailey got the role for her skin color and not for her talent, which I truly hope isn't the case. But unfortunately, I don't know of the case because of what Disney has done for so many years now. That's unfortunate for Halle Bailey, because I'm sure she's an extremely talented individual, and now she's going to have this stigma that's going to follow her around of, did she get this because of her race, or did she get it because of her talent? I'm hoping talent, and I'm sure she hopes it's talent, but there's got to be that doubt that, well, no, it is Disney. It really could go either way, and that is so unfair to her. Bailey had all those qualities, plus the kind of voice the role of Ariel demands, as Marshall explained. The voice is something so signature and so ethereal and so beautiful that it captures the heart of Eric. He looks for her for the entire film. The film's teaser trailer features only a portion of Bailey belting Part of Your World, but her vocals were enough to get fans excited for the live-action remake. Marshall said he never expected there to be such an intense focus on Bailey's casting. Now, her vocals did not get me excited for the remake, because I'm not excited for any Disney live-action remake, but they are good. They're very good. She can sing. She's got a powerhouse voice. At least the little bit we've heard makes me think so. So yeah, I have no doubt that Halle Bailey is incredibly talented in at least the singing department, hopefully acting as well. But no, I'm not excited for the film, because we all know what it's going to be. Either A, woke agenda bogus, with new rewritten versions of the characters to reflect the modern audience, or B, a soulless shot-for-shot remake of the original that doesn't add anything new, so why bother in the first place, or the things it does add that's new is completely superfluous and unnecessary, or C, some weird amalgamation of both, and oh man, let's not go down that rabbit hole. I wasn't anticipating that, because in a way, I felt like we moved so far past that kind of thing, Marshall said, but then you realize, in a way we haven't. It was very moving to me to see how important that kind of casting is for the world. But that's the thing. We had moved past it. At least in the vast majority of respects, we had moved past it. We had Blade in the 90s as a black superhero that everyone loved. The movies were great. We had Denzel Washington and Will Smith, two of the most charismatic and screen-commanding leading men in Hollywood in the 90s and early 2000s. Even today, well, maybe not Will Smith today, and on the female side as well, Whoopi Goldberg in Star Trek. Despite mostly being known for comedy, she's able to carry her own in a sci-fi show about exploration and existentialism. Not only that, but again, her comedy, Sister Act, Eddie. In the 90s, she was beyond talented. Again, much like Will Smith, not so much today, but... And then we also had Queen Latifah. Queen Latifah was everywhere in the early 2000s. Who didn't love Queen Latifah? Also, we had Halle Berry, not Halle Bailey, as Storm in the X-Men comics. I mean, Storm, she's been around since the 60s. She's an integral part of the X-Men. No one cared about the fact that she was black. And Halle Berry, say what you will about her performance as Storm, say what you will about how those X-Men films hold up, But at the end of the day, no one had an issue with it. The movie, for the time, was good. We loved it. We loved Halle Berry. We loved Storm. We still love Halle Berry. I think. She was relevant. Well, we definitely still love Storm, and we've loved her since the 60s. By acting like we didn't grow up with actors of color being important and integral in the 90s and early 2000s and acting like you're breaking new mold by doing it now, you're honestly doing a disservice to the actors that have laid this groundwork, as well as the films and TV shows that your adult customers now grew up enjoying and loving. It feels like you're spitting in the faces of both your actors and your audience. That's never cool to do. You say we haven't moved past it, but we had, and then you brought it back, Disney. Or if you didn't bring it back, you were at least complicit in it coming back. Because you let these whiny individuals who are on Twitter get the best of you and make you think that that's the real world and let them run rampant instead of calling them out when they say, we need more diversity in film. Instead of saying, well, we have XYZ diverse characters, you say, okay, we're sorry, we'll put more in the film. And then when individuals like myself say, no, you were doing good and we had diversity, you say, shut up, racist. You want to know who one of my favorite, arguably my favorite Disney princess is? It's Tiana. She's got some competition with Mulan and Merida, but it's probably Tiana. She's got, honestly, the most charisma and personality of any of the Disney princesses. And I'm pretty sure that film came out in, what, 2006? But no, you want to act like you're breaking new mold with Black Little Mermaid, and that's just so unfair to the legacy of the character, to the legacy of your other characters, and to the actress Halle Bailey herself. Plus, it's unfair to your audience, who knows that you've had diversity in the past well before this woke craze came upon us. Bolstered by toxic fans on social media, okay, there's that term again, toxic fans, the hashtag #NotMyAriel sprung up on Twitter after Bailey's casting was first announced. The actor told Variety that her family helped her drown out the backlash. Bailey's grandparents shared their own memories with her of the racism and discrimination they had endured in their lifetimes. Good. That's good to hear. I'm sure that she's probably somewhere around my age, so her grandparents were probably adults in or before the civil rights era. I'm sure they experienced horrible discrimination and racism, and so I'm glad they were able to help her get through that. But I think it's also disingenuous to claim the hashtag #NotMyAriel was a racist thing. Again, are there probably a few racists in there? Yes, but you're very much exacerbating the issue, when in all reality, people are just tired of these remakes. We don't want to see a less good version of something we'd already paid to see over and over again. You are never going to get something better in live action than you had in animation, because animation is a limitless world. You can do so much more in animation than live action with cartoony facial gestures, movements. I brought this up at the beginning of the video. It's what ruins the live action Aladdin. No, it's not Will Smith as the genie. That's actually not bad. It's the fact that you lose everything magical that animation granted you. That's going to happen here too, even if everything else is almost flawless. I doubt it will be, but that's the point. #NotMyAriel. It's not because she's black, it's because she's not Ariel, and this isn't Little Mermaid. It's a pale, maybe that was a poor choice of words, it's a cheap imitation of the Little Mermaid, so that you can just get more and more money, so that your greedy corporate pockets can be filled so deeply and so full that you can finance another 20 of these. What's next? Live action Fox and the Hound? Live action Oliver and Company? Live action Aristocats? I mean, none of these are going to exactly be live action, because much like with Lion King, you're going to CGI it as realistically as possible, but then not correct anyone when they say live action. And then when they do inevitably cast a young little black boy as Oliver for Oliver and Company, and people throw a fit about not wanting to see a live action remake of Oliver and Company, you'll call them racist too. Even if it has nothing to do with the boy you're casting as Oliver, it has to do with the fact that no one wants this product. It was an inspiring and beautiful thing to hear the words of encouragement telling me, you don't understand what this is doing for us, for our community, for all the little black and brown girls who are going to see themselves in you, Bailey said. Well, see, no, I don't like that either. Is it just me, or is that a racist sentence? I mean, who said you have to match the skin color of somebody to see yourself in them, or them see themselves in you? Look, I love comic books. I'm part of many comic book fan pages and groups on things like Facebook, Twitter, whatnot. Do you know how many dads I see talk about how their son, their little white son, loves Miles Morales, is inspired by Miles Morales, is inspired by Black Spider-Man? Little 4-year-old white kid doesn't care that Miles Morales is black. He cares that Spider-Man's cool. And I'm sure the reverse is true for female characters of color. I just won't lie, I don't know too many because, well, I don't have much of an interest in female-oriented things. Monster High. You know, same. I'm sure it happens with Monster High. But I'm also sure the reverse is true. I'm sure little white boys went and saw Black Panther and loved it because superheroes are cool. By saying you have to identify with somebody or you can only identify with somebody if you share their skin color, that is so surface level, superficial, and ignorant. You should be able to identify with somebody's morals, their soul. That's what these characters are at the end of the day. That's why they stand the test of time, is because there's something greater than their skin color. It's what's underneath the melanin. Bailey also overcame the backlash by thinking about how such a casting would have impacted her as a young girl. What that would have done for me. How that would have changed my confidence, my belief in myself, everything, she said. Things that seem so small to everyone else, it's so big to us. See, again, I don't like this statement either. You're a successful actress. You're a successful singer. You just landed a major role in a Disney property, hopefully because of your own talent and not for woke diversity point casting. You must not have confidence issues because this is a hard business that takes a lot of confidence. To be able to put yourself out there for auditions, to be able to sing, to be able to act, you didn't need a little black girl character to teach you that. You just needed a character with heart that you loved to teach you that. And clearly you must have found it in something because here you are, being successful. And that's good. I'm very happy for Halle Bailey. I want her to be successful. I also want her to, look past something as superficial as skin color. Look past the idea that you can only identify with a character if you've got the same skin color as them. But at the end of the day, I am being serious when I say, I hope she succeeds. I mean, I hope this movie fails because nothing against her. I want to see Disney fail. I want to see their live-action adaptations fail. And going back to my statement at the beginning of the video, I want creativity back. There's nothing creative about this. It's soulless. It's cheap. It's nostalgia bait. And it needs to stop. But as for Halle Bailey herself, I hope she has an incredible career going forward. And I genuinely do hope that she got this role based on the merit of her own talents and skills and not on her skin color. I just unfortunately wouldn't put it past Disney for that not to be the case. And I hope that stigma and that thought process doesn't follow her around and that she goes on to working for companies and doing projects far better than something like a Little Mermaid remake, as if the world needed that. Well, that's been my thought process on this Variety article, and my thoughts on Disney remakes as a whole. If you're still around, please like, comment, definitely comment on what you think of these views as well. Do you think she was casted because of her race, or because she actually has talent? Do you think that her statement about seeing yourself in somebody else is as superficial as it seems to come off as me? Do you think the world could be a better place if maybe we would just stop talking about race and just make good stories that stand the test of time? I want to hear your guys' thoughts, so please, comment them all below. I read and respond to just about everything. And subscribe. I'm really trying to grow this channel, so it would mean the world to me if you did that. Get more content like this. Follow me on Twitter at BoltTheWord, because this has been Words of Paradise.